Welcome to Small Potatoes Music TV. I'm Grayling Pingle.
I'm Scott Arthur.
How's it going, you guys? Today we're going to be talking about how to do your very first gig as a solo artist. And what I recommend would be doing an open mic.
Yeah, that's pretty much how you started. We had Sully in last time around and talked to him a little bit about what got him out there and what got him started. But really, what was the really first thing that got you from coming out from behind the drums and saying, I'm going to be a solo artist? It was doing an open mic, wasn't it?
Right. I just learned about 5 songs, and they were having an open mic in Green Bay, and Bobby Rivers was hosting it, and I signed up and just went there, and I would say you just got to get a few songs together. You don't need to have a whole song list to get off the couch and get out there. You just need a few songs. And I had five or 6 songs. And it was pretty cool. It was at the Harmony Cafe in Green Bay. But the cool thing about it is you'll actually get off the couch and you'll get up on stage and get in front of people, and that's what you need to do.
What do you think was what was the biggest thing about your open mic? I mean, people have seen you do an awful lot of gigs now. Like it's almost hard to believe that it wasn't that long ago that you went and did this open mic. Were you thinking you're going to play music for the first time, or were you thinking I'm just going to try this?
Well, I wanted to play. I always wanted to do this, actually.
Okay.
But I always played drums in bands, so I wasn't new to the stage. But I was afraid to sing in front of people. So that was my biggest thing. Is I was afraid of singing.
And do you feel like that ever stopped you from doing it, or was this just the
Definitely.
It did. Okay.
Definitely.
But this was the time when you were at least considering getting music back into your life for either part-time work or full-time work or making a living, going back to being a musician.
I didn't know when I started doing it that I would be doing it full-time.
Okay.
I hadn't made that decision yet.
Okay.
I was driving semi over the road when I started, and I was on a thing where I could work 2 weeks and then have a whole week off. So I had 7 days off. So I could go on that week off and play. So, and that's what I did. I think I did that for about the first year, actually. I think I did it part-time for about a year.
And so for somebody getting started, it's a pretty realistic thing to think about. Start with that open mic, have 5 really polished songs, get out there and see how that feels. And for you, after about a year, you knew by about a year's time, maybe, is this something I even want to keep doing? And maybe it's something that I could do to make a living at. I'm going to jump in with both feet and be my own boss. Mm-hmm. Still a business, still requires all the effort that running a small business might take. But yet you knew after about a year that, hey, I think I got what it takes, and I want to do it anyway.
I wanted to do it, and I was already doing it. You know, I already had a few places that I was playing at, and had been out there for a year about. And I had some real bad back problems from driving truck, so I had to stop driving truck.
Yep.
So I actually asked my wife, I said, what are we going to do now? Because, I mean, if you can't do certain things, I did that for 18 years, so it wasn't like I wanted to quit my job.
Right.
But she just said, why don't you just play music full time?
And it was something that, even though you hadn't made that move from behind the drum kit, up front, to your voice, to your singing, to your song selection, you always wanted to do it anyway.
I wanted to do it.
So this was good timing as far as,
even right now, I think about, it'd be kind of coolest to be the front man in a band. Mm-hmm. That's something I never did. Mm-hmm. So I kind of think about stuff that I never did before, and I want to try that.
Yeah, well, that's the...
It's scary to do that. All of this stuff comes with fear, but there's a risk factor involved because you don't know for sure if you can do it. But really, I didn't know I could walk either.
Yeah, right. Well, and it's
I started crawling.
The optimism of the creativity and trying to push it forward just to see where it goes is just
fun.
Something that burns in a lot of people that maybe aren't going and doing it and just have to get over that initial hump. And you feel like one of the best ways to do that was do an open mic, and then if that goes well, maybe put together at least maybe a modest amount of promotional materials and try to get some further gigs. Now, whether it's coffee shops or restaurants or taverns or wineries, lower key taverns, we'll call them, maybe lower key drinking places. Maybe those are the places that suit you or your music better. Then putting together a little bit of information that you can go out and start to get a few of those basic gigs. And really, after a year's time or within reason, you might know, how do I want to do it? What do you think that someone that's maybe done an open mic, or maybe they're ready, they've signed up, they got their 5 songs, what can they expect if they get through that and things go well? What should the next thing be that they do? Should they be getting an old school business card? Should they be spending their time on Facebook? Or is it maybe a little bit of old school promotional and a little bit of new school promotional to make sure that if you're doing a good job, you can keep doing it? You know, what worked for you?
Once you do a few open mics, I would say do a few, and maybe even do some farmers markets or a few free things. But you can't make a living doing free things. I mean, eventually, if you want to turn it into a business, then you have to make money, because that's what businesses do.
Yeah, right. And you can't be afraid to do that too, right? You also can't be afraid to.
Yeah, you have to do things.
Right.
No matter, excuse me, no matter what you do, you're going to be working at it. Now, if it's something you do on your own or something you go and do if you work in a factory or whatever, you're going to have to punch in and show up. I would say once you learned those 5 songs or 6 songs, whatever, then just keep learning songs and keep adding to your repertoire. And then get business cards first, because they're super cheap.
Yeah.
And
I still like them.
Yeah.
I feel like the real basic information that you can give those out to 10 people even while you're playing.
Yeah, somebody might ask you in a restaurant or a supper club, can I get your number?
Right.
You don't want to get a Post-a-pad and start writing down.
Right. It's quicker to hand them a card that has your website, your name, and your phone number on it than it is for them to even just take out their phone and do it. It's just, there's something about that quickie business card thing. They may only use it once to enter put them in a search and to add your number, but it's a quick way for you to do it. And that's a reasonable expense for somebody maybe in the first year of solo artist deciding how much do we want to invest.
What are they, like $10, $15
next
or something?
To nothing, right.
They're really cheap, Vistaprint, whoever you want to do them, but you can get them done fast, and that you can just go with a stock template even to get a fairly decent business card.
It's a pretty cheap way to make sure people have access to your information to either hire you or ideally call you back after that gig and say, hey, we had him in here one time. Let's send him down the road to this guy. Here's his card. Yeah, it makes sense.
Then I would say get a poster. I have 11 by 17 posters, but you can get smaller ones. Actually, 11 by 17, now that I've been doing it a while, it's kind of a little bit too big.
Okay.
Because some places, they might have like 10 or 12 posters up. Like Classics, they have a lot of posters up on their board. And the bigger your poster is, it's taking up a lot of real estate there. So you just want something that gets the message out. If it's on the wall, in the bathrooms, at the venue, and usually you only need posters now for the venue to put up, and maybe they'll want a few for around town and, some gas stations or something. It's not like it used to be posters all over town.
Right.
And most of the, I would say if you're on Facebook, most people are on Facebook. I have a separate Facebook page for my music. I end up posting all my music stuff on my personal page too, but just make a Facebook page and post your stuff, and don't post personal stuff on your Facebook page.
You mean on your musician for hire sort of page?
On your musician page, that one's for music. Don't post other stuff on there.
It should be the professionalism that you as an artist.
Have a decent picture, and then just keep that for your events. I put events on Facebook and I share events. If you want a lot of people to show up and you think, hey, this would be like a couple of weeks ago, I played at a really small place in Tigerton, but it was the first time I ever played there, and I wanted to kind of get the word out. So I spent $25. Well, I made $25 less than I did at the gig. It paid pretty decent. So,
Yep.
the place was real small, and it ended up being pretty full.
Good.
But I spent it on a Facebook ad, so I don't usually do that, but every once in a while, like for a CD release party or something, you
Sure.
can Facebook, you can do that. Take out an ad, and you can target who you want, the area you want. And I have a website. I have my website through Bandzoogle, it's called, and it's designed for musicians. So
that's something that maybe is a little bit easier to have the presentation entirely how you want it to look. Yes, you might choose from a template. Yes, it's Bandzoogle's service, but it's a little more, maybe a little more personal than just the Facebook thing, that format. So you're kind of doing two old school ways and two new school ways.
You have to
and
do
they,
the
you
new
almost
school
need
ways.
to you almost need to do both. Certainly the Facebook thing for what you mentioned, but also the Bandzoogle site, your own personal web page. It gives you, like you can have some your music on there and just a little bit more personal, right?
I have some photos. I have a decent photo on the main page and tabs, just like most websites
event
do.
stuff, yeah.
What are you about? Write a little bio.
Yeah.
You have to sit down and do a little bit of work. But you can really, there's not much of an excuse for not doing this stuff anymore, because most people have a smartphone. I don't have a smartphone, but you can get a friend with a decent iPhone and probably come up with a good enough promo picture. I mean,
Right.
it was yesterday I downloaded Adobe Photoshop Express on my phone, and you can doctor up photos right on your phone with that thing, or iPad.
Well, you can probably do your obviously everybody
can do your
already
promo.
knows this.
Yeah.
You can do your whole business cards. You can get your posters. You can do the whole thing from sitting there waiting in line
Right.
somewhere. So
You could.
But the key is, and we talk about this all the time, is actually doing it.
You have to do it. You have to do it.
It's if you took the time to learn those songs and you got over the hump of the first gig and the open mic, and the fear kind of went away, and instead it was replaced with enthusiasm and fire for the equipment and the songs, and going out there and trying to do it, and maybe being your own boss and taking a bigger step. The next thing is really making sure that you have those few basic promotional things covered,
Right.
so that if things take off, we can keep this thing moving. We have a way for people to contact me, and we have a way for people, maybe I don't always want to play just in my town. Maybe I want to play in the state of Wisconsin.
I'll play anywhere in the state, really. I had a guy ask me if I would come to California.
Holy
And I
cow.
told him for the price I would.
for the right price, right.
Because I could drive out there in a few days. I mean, if the guy's going to pay me a decent enough to go out there, it would be a little vacation, and it would be fun.
A heck of an experience. Boy, we could make a great video on that. I'd probably have to go along and provide some kind of service on that trip.
But yeah, you have for the Bandzoogle website, I pay $25 a month. So I mean, you're gonna have to stick a little money into some equipment, just a few things. You don't have to go and buy a humongous PA system. You don't have to, hire the best website designer in the world to do this. Bandzoogle, they have templates on there that are really cool. You can upload your photos really easy. You can upload music to it. You can even start a store on there and sell merchandise through that website. So it's all laid out, and they all have tips. You have to sit down and read this stuff and go through it. It's another thing about doing it. You have to do it.
Well, and I notice on your on some of the notes here that we looked at, it says start small but think big is what you were thinking. I think that's great. I mean, if you think about it, starting small means it's still relatively safe from a financial perspective. Not everybody's just got a ton of money to throw at every new thing they try.
Right.
But really, the difference is doing it, right? So thinking big is awesome. It's good to think like that. There's no reason to think or to not think that you couldn't follow sort of in your footsteps, or like when we talked about with Sully, somebody that in about a year's time he had figured out, I want to play these types of places, play about this much, and he knew he had what it took to go ahead and continue to do it. Maybe even invest a little bit more, same way you would in any other business, right?
Yep.
And
he added a harmony pedal. I added a harmony pedal.
Right.
Some people won't want to add a harmony pedal. They don't like harmony pedals. Don't do it then.
Then don't do it. Right.
It's your choice.
Right. And by that point, by the time you do it for a little bit, starting small with a small piece of equipment and getting larger, you're not over invested in the whole thing, and you can make some moves for your small business.
I started
rather
with
than
just
being
my
way
guitar.
overcommitted without knowing even what you're doing.
Right. I started with my guitar, and it was like a $80 guitar I bought 25 years ago, and a Fishman amp.
Yep.
So I bought the Fishman amp.
Yeah. Right.
And,
right.
You know, and I still have that same Fishman amp.
Yeah, right. And about a year in, you obviously things were going good enough. People that know kind of you made a transition into just from doing a solo artist with an acoustic guitar, which is where a lot of people might start, or maybe keys and voice. But you decided I'm used to playing drums, and I kind of focused on I'm going to do this one man band thing. And so you probably had some guys that were inspiration to you, and it was just the that burning optimism again to let's try something.
I saw Molly Jean on YouTube, and she had this Farmer foot drum that I use now, and so I Googled it and found it, and I ended up buying it. It was expensive. Now I want to buy another one, a new one, because they're better now. He's making them better, and
it's amazing.
Then I added
cool.
bass to it. I want to, and I'm thinking about adding electric guitar this summer, a Gretsch guitar, and different harmonica setup and bass. I have a better bass amp and just different things.
So for a different sound, because you've done kind of the setup that you've had now. A lot of people have probably seen Grayling with the setup that he's had now for a while. He's got a strong set list, and then he's got kind of this setup that he's been using for a while. Something that he's considering is electric sounds, and so the basis of the foot drum, but maybe turn it into a little bit different harmonica sound, and maybe even for some different types of venues that you end up at. And that's all come out of just sticking with it. But it's nothing that you would have tried in the first year. You would have stepped up little bites at a time.
Right.
Start small, think big until you see what works for you. I mean, you wouldn't even be thinking about going electric in a foot drum if it didn't both interest you and you didn't think that you'd have venues that'd want it. I mean,
Plus, I'm not really a electric guitar player, so it's something I have to kind of work into too.
Right,
so
awesome.
But you just take it a little bit at it. Start small. There's, I mean, anybody can start out small. You don't need much to do it.
Right.
So
and it's taken you as far as essentially being a one-man band. I mean, it's taken. Not everybody has to do that, but
you can
really
do it as much as you want or as little as you want. If you want to play full time for a living, you can do it.
Right.
And if you want to just play, twice a month, you can just do that.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
It is that first step, though. That first maybe, and in your mind, the best thing. Do that open mic. Be amongst friends. Be amongst other people that are maybe in the same boat at that open mic. Get over that. You see that comfort level, and if by the time you're going to know if you want to keep going, right? I mean, you're going to know if you have that fire.
Yeah, and if you want to keep going, then you're gonna want to start making some money, and that's where you have to start knocking on doors.
Right.
So if you got a business card and some posters, you have something to go in to a venue, and that's another area of researching the venue. You can go online, check a place out fairly quick, and see, okay, does this look like the kind of place? If it's like a death metal venue and you're playing acoustic pop music or something like Ed Sheeran, if they do hire you, it's going to be so they can throw stuff at you and mock you the whole time you're there.
Nobody's having fun that night,
except those guys that hired you for
all your gear will be on Craigslist the next day. I'm getting out of this thing.
Right, but find out a venue that you think you're going to work out in, and then go there and talk to the owner. Go in the daytime, don't go there at supper time when they don't have time to talk to you. Go maybe at like 11 in the morning or something, not on Monday, because a lot of them are closed on Monday.
And not be afraid to ask the people at the venue, the people that you know about it, and go out and do the thing, like you say. Don't do the heavy metal thing if you're going to do acoustic folk. Try to make those first things. It's not necessarily making them easy, but make it fit as best as it can.
Yeah, it's kind of common sense to do stuff like that. But you can always ask friends that that are doing that, or like if you go on, say you go on, like Bare Bones Brewery, for example. You go on their website and you look at their events, and you could see who's played here and what kind of And then you can go on their page
Yeah,
and what kind of
right.
music do they do?
Right.
And you can kind of see,
Yep.
do I think I'd fit in here?
Yep.
And then just try it. Go there with some posters and a business card, and just talk to the owner and just tell them what you do. Take an iPad with a video of you if you have it, because it only takes a minute to pull that
I
up
think
on the internet,
That's
and they
as
all
important
have.
as anything now.
If you can get a good video, anything that's good
Even just
quality, not
one,
garbage.
right.
You know, don't go in there with something that sounds like crap and you look like crap in it.
and it's
you know?
all shaky and whatever.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
the
promo right
that's
there.
the calling card nowadays. Is a simple good
I went
audio
to-
track, video track.
I went over to Mark Goldy's studio, Rock Garden. Hi, Mark. And I had him do two videos a few years ago, and he recorded them and did the video. And he told me right out, these things will pay for themselves
Yeah.
real fast.
And
they
you
did.
found that out, didn't
They
you?
did.
Yeah.
I have them both on my
Yeah.
website, and a lot of people have said, I saw Chrome on your website, and
Yeah.
it's a song that I wrote, and they really like it. And I've got jobs off of those
And
videos.
Some of your it's an old saying. Some of my friends that are business guys or whatever, they're always trying to give you advice, and it's the same thing. Sometimes you have to spend a little bit of money to make money.
You have to.
And really the promotional video that you did at Winemakers that time, I mean, some of your higher end or gigs that are maybe I don't know, calling card gigs at that point they're because you shot good videos. They're because you went to Mark Goldy's place. I mean, that's what
Yep.
got you those things, right?
Yep.
I mean, you got to not be afraid if things are going well to spend a little bit of money on not just the gear or something like that, the promotional stuff. And to keep it going. If this is something you're going to do for a living, it's a small business. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you found out it was a small business probably right away.
And I work
right?
on it all the time. I
Right.
work on it if I'm not out playing. I'm working on researching stuff on
Right.
the internet.
Right.
And,
Or we're tinkering around doing this.
doing this. We've been working on this for probably 4 hours already
Right,
today.
right.
And it took time to set up the lighting.
Right.
It took time to set up the cameras, and we're trying different lenses, and we'd have a different microphone set up today. And
We learn a
so
little
all of
bit.
this stuff. We're learning as
Yeah.
we go here too.
And it applies
So-
in all of it, and the business stuff that I do, and in your business, all this stuff applies. And I think you kind of find that out even once you start playing, that your friends and other musicians, everybody's don't be afraid to ask. Everybody's out there
Yep.
that can help you.
I think that's a real important thing for people that are starting out, is don't expect that you need to know everything when you start out. All you really need is those few songs to go and play the
Right.
first gig and do
Right.
a good job.
Without
but
that,
learn
you got
those songs
nothing.
good
Yeah,
and
yeah.
be prepared, because if you practice 5 songs and I can play these songs really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
You'll know. If you
But-
went there without practicing, it's just like studying for a test or anything else.
Yeah,
If you're not prepared, you're gonna be more nervous.
Right. And
If you're more prepared,
if you
you'll
s-
go in there
if
knowing that
spent
you
all-
can do it.
If you spend all your time on the gear and buying things and doing all that, and the last thing you did was spend all the time on nailing those songs,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't need to know everything. You just
No.
need to know what you need to know for that day.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right. And that was really is the songs. I mean,
Yeah.
that really is make sure everything is working the way it should for that first time, because then you're going to want to do it again.
What else you got?
That's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah. So we do the next thing. We'll have to whatever the next show will be. Oh, we're gonna have Chopper for
We're gonna have
a
Chopper
little
on here
bit
in a
about
little
his stuff,
while.
right? Yeah, yeah. And
But,
then
Yeah, so I'd say if you're sitting on your couch watching this and you're thinking, man, I'd like to go out there and play, but I'm scared. Good, because you
He
should
was
be
too.
scared. You probably almost everybody's scared, but you're never going to get over being scared until you actually go play an open mic or something.
Yeah.
So just do it. Learn a few songs and do it. Don't sit around thinking about it forever, because you're not getting any younger here.
it worked for you.
I started my first album I put out when I was about 55, was my first solo one, and I named it Better Late Than Never for that reason, because I finally got out there and did it. But just don't wait around, just go and do it. I mean, there's plenty of people that'll support you,
Absolutely.
especially at open mics. So
Yeah, yeah.
thanks for watching, and
thanks.
we'll see you next time.
See ya.